What's up, everybody? We're still here at PAX East 2024, day 4, and I'm with Billy from Shared Memory, right?
Yep.
Okay, sorry. Shared Memory, and he's the solo dev of this incredible game I just checked out, Animal Well. I just have to give you all the praise in the world because the demo, it was a timed demo, and the moment I saw that timer tick down, I felt sad. I wanted to keep playing. So why don't you tell our viewers just a little bit about the game and your progress with it?
So Animal Well's it's a project I've been kind of working on by myself. It's like 7 years in the making, but we just announced the release date, so it's about to finally be done. But yeah, it's a game that's kind of hard to describe. In it, you play as this like kind of nondescript circle blob ball character, and you hatch from a flower and into this kind of like subterranean underground like lush world, and the game doesn't give you any explanation about like what you're supposed to do, and it's kind of just up to you to decide where you want to explore and what things mean. And there's secret passages everywhere and lots of puzzles, and there's kind of animals and creatures throughout the game, but you don't really understand like what their role is, or if they're dangerous, or if they're like could be used to solve a puzzle. So the game's just kind of this mysterious atmospheric world that you explore, and there's just like lots of secrets hidden everywhere that I'm just excited for people to find.
Yeah, and the one thing I could say is intrigue. I put the headphones on, and did you do the sound design all yourself too?
Yep.
Oh, dude, hell yeah, dude. You're incredible. I put the headphones on, and the chaos of the show floor went away, and the sound, it was like the most beautiful like ambient music. It felt warm, and the stereo separation was really stellar. I noticed that like when the character was on one side of the screen going to the other, the lighting and the smoke effects jumped out to me instantly. You're this little character, and it's very like a Metroidvania like style game. And when I picked up the firecrackers and threw one, the lighting and the smoke effects were gorgeous.
Thank you.
And there was I think I got my first enemy. It looked like just a little floating angry face.
Yeah.
Do these characters have names, or are they just character A, character B?
Character A, character B. I'm actually pretty excited to not give them names, because like I always thought it was kind of funny in older games when I would see like people kind of argue about like what they called something. So I want the community to kind of like develop their own canon of like what everything's called, and I'm leaving that like as a blank slate, kind of intentionally. So
I like that. And so when I came across I just want to call him like the blue face.
Okay, yeah.
And I thought he was on his own path, and then he came and started like hunting me down. So I was going back and forth on the screen a little bit, and then I realized that when I eventually looped back around and got the firecrackers, which I think that the way that you presented that in that beginning part was like, you really know what you're doing. And the firecrackers scared him off, and he evaporated, and I was just hooked from that moment. It felt really intelligent. I got to another part where there's all these mice that were floating around the screen, and it took a couple of attempts, but everything just like really clicked. And I think this game is very special.
Thank you.
And I can't wait for it to come out. So you mentioned that you built your own engine.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about where you came from, how it started, and how we got to PAX 24.
Yeah, so it's been a long story. I've been in the game industry for a while, maybe, I don't know, 12 years or something, a little longer than that. And I always wanted to make indie games, and so I went to school for computer science, and it took some classes about like game engine programming, and I've always been interested in like optimization and like lower level stuff. Want to just know how games work, and I want to get answers to all those questions I've had my whole life. And so I worked at a few different studios and for a while, but I always wanted to go back and make a game myself. So this started just as kind of like an after work project for almost 7 years ago, and it was just didn't have a lot of sort of ambition early on of like what this would become. I would thought it would be like a sort of like a 6-month long project that I could finish, and it would be like a little almost Pico 8 style like Metroidvania that you take an hour long to like get through. But then like the game just kind of kept growing in scope, and it was just the place I kept coming back to like kind of try out all the ideas that I wouldn't be able to do on other projects. And it was kind of like this like place where I wanted to keep everything like pure from like a business and game design point of view. I didn't want to like cut any corners, and it's just like almost like the platonic ideal of what I like loved in video games that I was just sort of like keeping to myself. Then just the project kept growing, and then about 3 years ago I started working with my business partner Dan Edelman, who he's been like in the game industry for a long time, and he worked at Nintendo for about 10 years on helped like get WiiWare started, and so he's been helping me a lot with like just marketing the game and taking it to shows like this, and talking to the console platforms and stuff. So that sort of, when he got involved, I think the project got a lot more serious, and I had someone else like that was kind of had expectations for it, and then
you get that expertise and that knowledge, and then it really fills in the gaps.
Yeah, there's just like a ton of stuff to know in terms of like how do you actually like release a game, and like how do you get it localized, how do you take it to shows like this, and there's just a lot of people have to get involved. Even though I'm a solo developer, to actually market a game and like get people to know about it, it's like just a giant effort I could never do by myself. And then we started working with Big Mode Video Game. Donkey and his wife Leah, they started their publisher a little over a year ago, and we're their first game to release, and are very proud to be working with them. And that since then we've gotten a ton more like eyeballs on the game as well. So it's been just this like very long story that has like sort of changed my life multiple times already, like throughout development, as like this scale and the profile of the game has like increased in size.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, like I said earlier, my editor and colleague said, hey, you need to go check out Animal Well, and you got a pretty good spot on the map too. So I came down here and was watching the big screen, and just the moment I saw those smoke effects, I was like, this is cool. Like, this is really cool. Is that its own unique physics engine? Because I know I saw some like the vines that were coming from the ceiling like got hit by the platforms. Do you have like a physics engine, or is that all scripted?
It's all just kind of made on its own. I'm just sort of making the game from scratch. So that fluid sim is actually it's like an old technique. I read this book called GPU Gems, but NVIDIA published. It's from like 2003, so it's pretty old. And in there, they teach you how to do like a 2D fluid simulation. It's called the Navier-Stokes is like the algorithm.
Okay.
And you can like, it just runs full screen at all times in the background of the game, and you can draw sprites into it, and then you can like apply forces to it, and it's keeping track of the velocity and the pressure, and like solving sort of the equations necessary to do that fluid simulation. So I use that to drive a lot of the effects for smoke and some of the enemies and the water splashes. And but yeah, that and then the vines are a separate thing. They're almost treated like little rope chains that they used to just be static sprites, and I just kind of got bored of walking past this tile that doesn't do anything. So I'm always like looking for excuses to I'm like, how can I take this low resolution screen and like add more detail to it without increasing the number of pixels? So and a lot of times that's done through like animation and sound and like particle effects. So I thought the vines are fun. I'm just trying to make the act of walking around the world like as rewarding and like playful as possible.
That stood out to me, and I was going through one screen, and it put me in the upper left-hand corner, and everything was dark, and I saw fireflies, so I knew that there was obviously something there. And then I jumped up to the platform, and the whole room lit up. So the lighting presentation was really impressive as well. I know I'm gushing, but I got just the moment those headphones came on, I was sold. What's do you have a planned release date? How can people support you further?
So Very excited to finally have just announced the release date this week. It's May 9th. The game is coming out on PlayStation 5, Nintendo Switch, and Steam. And yeah, you can wishlist the game, especially on Steam. That will help a lot with like getting visibility when we get closer to launch. And yeah, I'm just very happy to finally be at this point. It's been a long story.
Yeah, and I played it on the Steam Deck version, and that it was flawless.
Yeah, we'll hopefully be Steam Deck verified. But even if we're not, the game works like perfectly on Steam. I've been testing a lot on there, and you should get like pretty good battery life too. So yeah, I think that's a great way to play it.
Now, is it does it use the Proton layer, or does it run native on Linux?
It uses Proton, but I was honestly shocked at how well Proton works. Like, especially since it's like a custom engine, I was like, okay, am I gonna have to? Where did I screw up? But it honestly works perfectly, and I'm very impressed with what Valve has been able to make. Because Steam Deck's pretty like magical in terms of like how it's built.
Yeah. So May 9th, right?
Yes.
Wish listed on Steam. Do they have a website that you can check out?
You can go to animalwell.net, and then you'll get links to all the like social media stuff, and it's on Steam, PlayStation, Switch. So yeah, if you just Google Animal Well, you'll find it. But yeah.
All right, right on. All right, well, thank you, Billy. I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
And we'll see you for more later this weekend. Thanks, guys.